Hi, this is Dr. Zora Dubinsky, and I'm here with my dear friend Caro, and we're doing another Birds, Bees, and Beyond segment. And this time it is about sexual assault, harassment, coercion. Politicians are being accused of rape, sexual assault. Two of them have just resigned from their posts. One of the things that's really important is to be absolutely clear if you want to go along with the behavior, a compliance, nonverbal consent. You're not saying yes, but you're just doing it. That is not consent. Consent is a definite yes.
My name is Caro, and I'm a student at Florida International University, and I'm studying psychology. And today I'm going to be covering the main definitions of what coercion, harassment, and assault are. And I think that coercion is not really spoken about much and not really discussed on what it actually is and how it affects the cycle of harassment and assault because it's just the beginning. And so a lot of people have been coerced without even knowing. The real definition of coercion is when somebody is convincing you or persuading you to do something that you don't want to do, you complying to it. Similarly to how Sora mentioned in her recent Substack article, coercion is not force, but it's also not consent. It's a form of manipulation. It's a way of just complying. And a lot of women are coerced by men because they feel either pity or guilty or like they have to because of the situation that
That's
they're put in.
that's a big one that they're guilted into it.
Yeah. Harassment is a little different. So it usually involves like unwanted behaviors. They can be verbal, they can be emotional, they can even be sexual. But once it becomes something physical, usually it's considered assault. And so harassment can be, let's say you're in a situation like where you're in a workplace and somebody tells you that they need to see you after work and you don't have a choice, like they need to see you, or they consistently keep asking you to see you after work for a drink, or they want to just have some alone time with you, and you don't feel comfortable with that
But
person.
it's also unwanted compliments, like,
Yeah,
wow, that's a nice dress you're wearing, or I grew up in New York City, and there were, you go to Manhattan, you go to work, and there's all these construction sites, and all the workers at the construction sites.
catcalling.
It's just so commonplace. You don't even think anything of it, but that's harassment.
And it shows when it's harassment when the person is clearly showing that they're uncomfortable. Like, because a lot of the time they will show they're uncomfortable, please stop, or just show overall like that they don't enjoy being told certain things. Like when someone is consistently showing that they're uncomfortable or they don't want to be put in that situation, like a good human being should have the ability to understand, like, hey, I'm making this person feel comfortable. Let me stop doing that.
Sometimes you mentioned work situations. Sometimes it's a boss and an underling that the boss thinks they have the right to harass or coerce an underling. And again, I'm older. I grew up in New York in the 1970s. And if I got harassed like once a day, every day, that was normal. That outfit looks good, or, meet me, like you said, meet me for a drink. And that behavior in the society is normalized for a while. With the Me Too movement, it became, it was brought to the surface. But these days, it's like gone back under the surface. For some people in power, harassing someone or coercing someone, that's a sign of power and privilege.
There's definitely a fine line between complimenting someone like, everyday life, like, hey, like you see someone, you're like, hey, you look nice. But when it's in a situation that you give them like a certain tone and you do it a certain way as and you make them feel uncomfortable, like I just like being very clear on that because a lot of the time then people will think, oh, so then I can't compliment women, like what's what can I do? Like, but realistically, like it's about the way you say it. Have the initiative and the attention to make someone feel uncomfortable, that's clearly harassment. But if you're just complimenting someone because you see them on the street and you're like, hey, like I really like their outfit. Like today I left the gym, I got changed, and someone was like, hey, I like your outfit. And I'm like, thank you so much. Doesn't matter if it's a guy or girl, like I take that all right. I take that well. Now, if someone's like checking me out,
Yeah.
something that's clearly like undermining and just in that form is definitely a way of harassing someone. Assault can be identified as touching, groping, rape, any sort of form of like physical interaction, especially sexual. It's just very, very sad, honestly. And it's pretty commonly seen. Some ways of avoiding the coercion
Yeah. Well,
assault.
you have to call it out. Firstly, what is a consent, and you like the term, an enthusiastic yes. When I teach my classes, I show a video by a woman who's on YouTube. Her name is Lacey Green. She leaves no doubt in the observer's mind that she is saying yes, and things like, yes, I want to, that feels good, keep going. You can't mistake it for consent. What consent does not sound like. Compliance would be, well, I guess so if you really want to, or silence or freezing. Women blames themselves. They don't report it. They think they're alone. I do have to add that 7% of men have been assaulted. Still a small percentage compared to the number of women. You're not alone. You can report it. One of the reasons E. Jean Carroll won her sexual assault case against our president was because she told somebody at the time, there was a witness. If you have or suspect that you have been assaulted, report it. Go to the police, let them know what happened, and don't be a victim. Don't blame yourself. If you've ever watched, and I'm a fan of the CSI Special Victims, I love Olivia Benson. There are police that will help you. And that's what they always say on TV. You go and report it. And I don't know any woman who has gone through her life, like even women my age, who's gone through their lives without having been harassed or coerced at some point. It's just endemic in this society.
I think that it's especially important to just put prevalence on coercion because it's very commonly seen and mistaken for just feeling pity or feeling guilty, like, if it's your fault, but it's really not. It's a form of manipulation and it's very discreet, but it's very important for you to be able to identify that. And again, that's why we're here telling you how to identify it. It's just important to remember that you have resources that you have. A lot of people will tell me like, oh, I don't want to report them because they were drunk or I feel bad or maybe like I'm afraid for my safety, like, and those are all very important things to consider. But number one, if you're drunk or the other person's drunk, consent is not, it's just not there because there's two put under the influence or maybe just one, and things are mixed up. You're not fully there unless it was said beforehand. For the most part, when you're under the influence, consent is really not valid. um
Exactly. That's an important point. More than 1 in 5 women have experienced or attempted completed rape. 1 in 5, that's just for rape. Nearly half of women have experienced some form of sexual violence, whether coercion, unwanted contact, or harassment. Each year, hundreds of thousands of people are affected. And if you're drunk, consent cannot be freely given, and it's easier to be taken advantage of. Some people say, oh, well, she didn't fight back. She couldn't have been raped. Why didn't she scream? Why didn't she yell? The brain actually freezes and you can't respond. So if you're not screaming, it's because you're terrified. You're locked up. You can't scream or react in that situation, and that's really important to be aware of because that's when women start blaming themselves.
in fight or flight, like a lot of people don't know how to react. And a lot of the
Hmm.
time, some people will run, some people will freeze, some people will panic. Everyone has different reactions. It's important to not blame the victims, but rather support them and make
That's
sure that they get the help
right.
they need. If this type of content interests you, please leave a comment down below, like our video, and subscribe to our channel to support us so you can watch other videos on sexuality, spirituality, and overall just human experiences that people don't really talk about. And if you found this information useful, or you maybe got reminded of a friend who recently went through coercion or assault or even harassment, please feel free to send them this video so they can have some resources or a way of recovering better because it really is a sad and tough process.
I'm still surprised. College students come into my classroom. They've never had any conversations about sex other than with their friends. They might not have accurate information. So,
Exactly.
well, with that, we will see you again soon. Join us next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.